Hi, how's it going? 4 months exactly. I thought I was gonna upload more. I ended up not. To my defense though, I did record 3 videos within that time. One I edited all the way. One I didn't have the audio to because it wasn't recording the whole time. So that was fun. And I think I lied about the third one. So okay, I just recorded 2 videos within that time. Then I kind of just gave up for a second. I figured I'd get back to it whenever I would be good and ready to do so. And that time is now. We are now ready to do so. And by we, I mean me. I'm ready. Right now, I'm just talking about the pre-production process. I am gonna touch on the pre-production, the actual on-the-day shoot, and then the post-production of the whole thing. Just so you guys can get an idea of how I did this. Maybe you guys are shooting something like this, or maybe you've never shot something for a client before, and this is just one of the ways that you could do something like that. But we contacted the Lifted guys, the owner and one of their salesmen, main salesmen, I think, and we just told them we wanted to do something with them or for them, free of charge, since we had never really done anything like this before. And all we would need is a couple products from them, as like, I guess you could say payment, but mainly to have them inside of the video so we can show the product in the video clearly. We came at them with the concept for the commercial that we wanted to do for them, because Lifted Optics is like more, it's very youthful, it's very fun. The shades are very clean, they look very nice. I had imagined 2 runners going up a mountain at dawn. In my head, all of this just looks so cinematic and pretty. Obviously, the realistic aspect of that got me pretty tired just thinking about it, because I was like, okay, well, we need to be at the summit of the mountain by the time the sun's coming up. So I knew we were gonna have to get up around like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I was ready regardless. I knew that it would be worth it at the end of it, so I didn't really mind. And so the next step after we came up with the concept was basically to just storyboard it for them so that they could see what we're envisioning. I don't like storyboarding too much. I usually get a couple images in my head of what I want. If I do need to write something down because I think it's very technical, I will, and I'll just make note of it in that sense. But if a client does want a storyboard, I do, create one for them in order for them to really understand my vision. After we got them the storyboard and they okayed it, they thought it was great, they kind of just wanted us to do our thing with it, and they just trusted our vision for the final product, we just started seeking out our runners. We wanted people that were actually, worked out, because it's like a 3-4 mile hike just to get to the top. So you have to hike it all the way up and then all the way back down. And we knew we were gonna have to stop at a couple parts, and we wanted them running in a couple parts, and it gets very, very steep. So we knew that these people had to be, physically gifted in some sense. At the end of it too, I knew that maybe the people we were gonna hire weren't or may not have the acting chops. I just knew I didn't want them to have any lines. And I didn't think it was necessary for them to have lines, because I wanted their actions to speak for them. So after we got all that ready, everything was settled. We had our shot list that we wanted to nail, important shots that I wanted to get, and then I knew on the day I would actually come up with different shots, because that's always how it goes. You always just show up to a place and you're like, you know what? I like this angle, but I'm gonna try this angle instead, because right now the lighting is just perfect. However, in order to talk about on the day, I'm actually gonna jump onto my computer and show you guys exactly step by step how we shot this. So a lot of things happened the day of the shoot. Obviously, we had our storyboard set up, and we had an idea of what we wanted, but that's not always necessarily what's gonna happen, or like the storyboard doesn't reflect what's gonna be on your finished product, right? So that's what I'm gonna be talking about here in this segment of the video. So this shot right here is actually one of the last shots we captured on the day. This is the first shot right here that we shot, and as you can see on the left hand side of the screen right there, or of the image, the sun's barely coming up, and that was real. We timed it perfectly so that when we got to the top of the mountain, the sun would be up. What we wanted to show is basically that they were up, on time. Anyway, so yeah, we shot it backwards, and the day or the morning, right, was getting much brighter. It got harder and harder to shoot this the more we got towards the bottom, because of how high the sun ended up being by the time we left. Here, actually, the sun was up really high, but we found a good spot with some shade, and we cheated it a little bit. See, like that, it looks like they're in the same spot there, but they're really not. Anyway, let's just watch. this shot right here is actually a good example of what I want to talk about next. And what I already kind of touched on is that you have your ideas in the storyboard, right? So you have an idea of how you want some of the shots to look and things like that. But like I say, you get inspired on the day of shooting. So sometimes you want to go a separate route. Maybe you think of a different shot that you want or something like that. And this shot right here is actually one of those shots. I saw this hill or this rock formation thing right here, and you see the path that they're on is somewhat curved around it. So I thought it'd be cool to take the drone there and follow them as they're making that turn, which is pretty fun. This shot I think I actually planned ahead of time. I don't know why, but it was one of the original shots that I had planned. Right away in the beginning, one of the things I knew is that I didn't want the actors to really talk. I wanted them to express how they're feeling through, you know, just the shots and just physical movements. Like here you can tell that he's getting kind of, you know, he's getting left behind. She's kind of climbing this mountain like a boss, right? So he's kind of dragging along. Right here he takes a little breather and she just like motivates him right there. Pushes him forward a little bit. And then yeah, she pushes him to keep going. He does. Right here, I had this shot too, planned ahead of time, just because I wanted to show the logo off a little bit and like the sunrise. It was actually a really complicated shot, but I kind of made it work. More artistic, kind of show the scenery. Also, we had a couple people tell us that we could just cheat it and go to a smaller mountain and we get the same effect, but you can't really get this kind of view from a smaller mountain, you know what I mean? We were at one of the highest points there, and I think it was worth it. I mean, we were exhausted at the end of it, but like I said, it was kind of worth it for what we got, especially with this shot too. You can see the scale of everything, and here's the path down here that we had to follow to get way up here. But yeah, that's kind of what goes on the day. There's this quote that I heard on TV one time. It says, "Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails, then throw away the plan." And I think that's very, very accurate. And I feel like people would agree with me. If you've ever been to a shoot and you know you planned beforehand, improvised the day of, and the improvisation of it, I feel like adds such a layer of creativity, because you can see it as a bad thing, you can see it as a good thing, you can let it make you or break you, right? But it all depends on perspective. It turned out pretty good, I think. Went pretty well. Anyway, back to the main segment of the video. And now that you guys saw the on the day shoot, we can talk about the post-production. So after I shot it all, I still was just left with the tangible pieces of the puzzle. I had all the pieces laid out, but nothing was making any sense. So now I have to put them all together, and that's just basically how it goes. We shot it backwards chronologically, so I looked at the last shots first and started editing them in a way that would just make sense in the end. Again, we struggled a lot with the light. It got very bright by the time we got to the bottom of the mountain, which was supposed to be when we first got there. I guess we could have done the first shots before sunrise, but it was actually really, really dark, and it would have been very, very hard to get all those angles without, you know, our shots just looking bad. I was okay to risk it as long as we got it done. In the post-production, I actually tried to color match a lot of the shots with the shots from when we were on the summit. And we actually had like that very, very early morning look, because by the time we left, believe it or not, it was really, really bright, and we just kind of had to go with it. In my head for a second, I did kind of give up. I was like, oh my goodness, this is all ruined. It's not gonna work. None of this looks right, but kept my chin up and I ended up pulling it off. So I was very proud of myself for that. Again, personally, I think it looked pretty good. I don't think if I would have told you guys that you guys could have guessed that we shot it backwards chronologically unless I actually confirmed it, which I am. And again, afterwards I went to Epidemic. Afterwards I also went to Epidemic Sound because I wanted a good soundtrack to go with this, and luckily the Winter Olympics has just passed, and there's an album called Winter Olympics. It has like just all those tones that you want for this kind of look. or for this kind of project. So I just went through that album, and luckily I found the song right away, and I felt like it captured exactly what I wanted. So once I had edited my first cut of it, I didn't want to finalize the whole thing yet. I wanted our client to get a good look at one of the first drafts that I had done for them, right? Say I edit the whole thing, I throw all the logos, fade it out, whatever, and they hate it. Maybe they think one of the shots is too long, maybe they just don't like the shot in general, I have to take it out, but everything's synced according to it. See, you don't want to go back and have to redo all the work you just did, right? So what I did was, throughout the whole post-production process, and again, ever since the first draft of it, I was just sending them the full thing every time. Every time I would tweak something, I would send it to them. And they wanted that, which was good for me, because if my client would have been annoyed, like, oh, just figure it out, like, then it would not have worked. They were very, very cool with it. And at the end of it, I mean, it was a good collaboration between us and them. I thought it was great. I think we're all pretty content with it in the end. As long as you keep a leveled head, you see where your end goal is, and you just fit the pieces to get there, and don't let anything kind of hold you back from progressing or from moving forward, then you should be okay. You're going to figure it out, you're going to get through it, and it's going to be awesome in the end, and it'll all be worth it, even if you guys have to wake up at 3 a.m. like I did, because that was terrible. Anyway, thank you for watching this. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys look forward to more of this. Anyway, now that you heard all my thoughts about how I made it, the process of making it, and then the process of making it after it's already made, here's the actual video. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was very fun for me to make. Not much else to say besides like, subscribe, share the video, do whatever you want, comment, let me know how it went, if you learned anything, if you didn't like it, if you liked it, if you loved it, or if you thumbs downed it. You can tell me that too. I respect it.